That's the stuff I like. Just chilling out and doing, fun stuff. Stuff that we used to do when we were kids when there was nothing else to do. So this inspired me to launch this episode today and talk about all the things that we do during the holidays, but more specifically, to do something we don't normally do.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Dianne Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Welcome to another episode of Parenting Guide Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast, and you're listening to episode number 49. Now, if you're watching on YouTube this video, I have a little bit of a setup here because I wanted to balance out this blank space. So I put my plant here that normally sits on top of that dresser thing, but without it, it was kind of blank and empty because of this. My microphone is very heavy on the right side, left side, on one side of the screen. So I decided to put the plant here so it adds some sort of balance. Yeah, I'm quite the stylist when it comes to stuff like this. No, I'm kidding. I'm not the stylist at all. I'm not that great. But I thought that there needed to be a balance. And I think this works out okay. Kind of like in an angle so you don't see all the yucky stuff in the back there. So anyhow, first off, we are at the end of December already. How fast did this year go by? Like it flew, right? Mind you, some days felt like they were dragging and they were never ending, talking about during homework time or when the kids are reading and they take a little longer to read. But all in all, just to say, it has been a wild and crazy 2023. Don't you agree? If it has, let me know in the comments or on Instagram. Just send me a DM at One Tidy Place and let me know how your 2023 was. All right. I'd love to know what your answers are and what you come up with. So today's episode is a good one. I like it because it came into my mind thinking about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, the holidays. And sometimes for me, the holidays, personally, I find, and this is so bad to say, but I find it it weighs on me. It's heavy. It's like, okay, what do we need to do? Where are the places that we need to go and the things that we have to buy? I know I sound so anti-holiday. I love the holidays, one, because we're home and all the kids are home and we could just be lazy and watch TV all day. Yes, I'm like a little kid. But anyhow, the holidays for me, I guess that feeling comes from back in the day when, we were still kids and we used to go from house to house to house to house and visit and stay there. And oftentimes they were at my parents' friend's house. And, sometimes there wasn't much to do for kids. There wasn't anything to do. The people didn't have fun toys, or there weren't any kids my age there. Or my parents just sat there talking forever. And yeah, it was just like an icky feeling. There's also like waiting in line at the stores and everybody with all their shopping bags. And I was just like, we didn't have a lot of shopping bags back then, but like we were there to get everything, from groceries to gifts to wrapping paper. It was just like kind of like a one-stop shop. We got to do everything on this one day. the one day that felt like it was forever and every single day during the holidays. So maybe my icky ill feelings about the holidays comes from back then, but I can say that there have been some magical, really cool times during the holidays where, you know, our family would come over from out of town, or we would visit my brother and his kids in Ontario, and, you know, just hanging out, just all of us, and just chilling. And, you know, it was that's the stuff I like, just chilling out and doing, you know, fun stuff that we used to do when we were kids when there was nothing else to do. So this inspired me to launch this episode today and talk about all the things that we do during the holidays, but more specifically, to do something we don't normally do. Now, I have a list of 5 things that I think are really cool and really fun. And yeah, there's stuff that I've done myself and with my kids, and maybe you've done them also, or maybe it's been a while since you've done one of these things. So have a listen to the 5 that I'm going to list out now, and hopefully it inspires you to maybe tap into doing something again, or doing something a little bit different from my list here, or from something you've already done, and just going a little different, a little bigger, a little smaller, a little calmer, or just something new. So this whole episode is to make you feel inspired and just kind of like light up a little flame, spark, whatever, of how to spend the holiday season with your family, or even just, you know, just you and your friends. That's cool too. So my first one, all right, and this is the number 1, which reminded me going back into quarantine time during COVID. Yeah, got to bring that back because it's still kind of with us, right? With everybody getting sick and having COVID, myself included. So I was thinking about COVID time and quarantine time and the things that we didn't normally do, being together in the house with our family. Now is the opportunity to do it. And that is to make a phone call. Like, actually pick up your phone if you still have a home phone, or if you have, everybody has a cell phone. Most people have a cell phone these days. And just to make that phone call to that person that you haven't spoken to in a while. Or is to have your kids make the phone call also. Like, literally pick up the phone, dial the numbers, you know, if you have the buttons from an old phone, or if you're really cool and you have the rotary phones, those are really nice. And have them start the conversation. When we did this during quarantine time, I had my kids come up with like 3 questions, random questions that they get to use, not all 3, just 1, you know, so they have like kind of like a bank of questions to use just in case they run out of stuff to say aside from, hi, how are you? I'm fine. And what are you doing today? Or answering the question, because usually it's the grandparents asking them, what are they doing? You know, and they'd answer that question. So something beyond that. And they had like a little toolkit of questions to answer. Questions for them to answer. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, this one is to get in touch with someone you haven't spoken to in a long time, or your children haven't spoken to in a long time, or that they normally speak to, but this time it's different. It's using a phone and having a conversation and being able to talk on the phone. So this is kind of like a dual purpose, a teaching moment and something you've never done before, or it's been a while since you've done this, but just tapping into that. And because it's the holidays, you know, you're connecting with someone, it feels good. It's really cool. It's very apropos to this time of year. All right. So number 2 is also inspired by thinking about how it was back during quarantine time, and thinking about the things that we wish we could do during those times. And that is literally to invite your neighbor over. Now, some people probably do already invite their neighbors over all the time and they have dinner with them. Great. I'm not talking about those neighbors, honey. I am not. I'm talking about the ones you kind of just wave to and hey, hi, you know, friendly. That you just, it doesn't have to be like for a dinner. It could just be for coffee. It could just be like, hey, you want to come by? My kids and I made a batch of muffins and we'd like you to come over and, just hang out for a bit, So that's something that we haven't done. I know I said I'd done all of these things, but this is something we haven't done yet at our family. And we have a couple of new neighbors. New, I'm talking about like they've been there for 6-8 years, I think. And we haven't, oh man, this is terrible. We haven't had them at our place, not even for like an hour. But we do talk outside, while the kids are outside and our kids are very sociable. So they talk to them. So to us, it's like, oh, we're good. But, to have that formal invite and get them to come over, I think that's something we should try doing. Right, Onig? All right. Number 3, I love this one. And I think because the kids are a little bit older right now because I never did this when they were small, but it's to go skating or even to go sledding with the kids. Nay, if the kids are busy or doing something or if they're at daycare, why don't you go sledding? Nothing's stopping you from doing that, right? And if you're like in the same boat that we were years ago, like we didn't do any of this stuff and now we're doing them, is we now started getting to know people, sounds weird, but who love doing these things, basically. So do what others do and go sledding with them. So it's kind of like an accountability or a motivation or inspiration to go do the things you don't normally do, which is like sledding or skating. You can even one-up it and do this someplace else, not your local regular hangout at the park, but somewhere else where they actually have like a big sledding or skating area. If you're up to it, try it out, either in the more local scale or out in explore your city and explore the outskirts of your city. Maybe they have that. So that's really cool. Number 4, speaking of exploring, is, and I love this one, and that is to go out and explore other boroughs, other cities within driving range, if you want, or within like commute, like train or bus, and explore other cities with your kids. I love this. My husband's not a fan, but I love doing this with the kids. Just looking at the different decorations, the different architecture that there is out there, how people lay out their landscape on their lawn, or like how they live. It sounds so ridiculous right now, but because, maybe a lot of us are always driving to and from work, so we get to see a lot of these things. But I'm talking about making this trip intentional to explore, observe with your kids, talk about it, have that conversation, say, what do they like about it? What do they not like about it? What do they observe that's different from where we live, right? So ask those questions. I think it's really cool to hear what they have to say, what they have to observe. And I always like, as a little treat, is to try out the local specialty there. Anywhere there's food, I'm there, right? If there's a party, I am at the buffet table. I'm always around there. So if you need to talk to me, I'll be where the food is at. So I like to try out specialty places like, if they have a nice coffee place, if there's a bagel place that's really cool and really good and yummy and not the ones that they have closer to my house. Cupcakes are always good, little foodie things like that. My kids enjoy that a lot because I guess I like it. So they get influenced by me. But I like it because now the kids are a little bit older, so I can enjoy this stuff with them, and it's super fun to see their eyes light up and, just experience life again, but through their eyes. It's really, really interesting. And it's, just makes things a lot more meaningful, I guess. I don't know. I absolutely love it. All right. So my last one is, and this has nothing to do with the kids. This is probably one of my favorite ones and something that I didn't really have a conversation with my husband about, but the little devil, little romantic one, he put it upon himself to do this. And that was to schedule at least one date night a month with me. Yep, I'm going to say that again. To schedule at least one date night where it's just me and him, whether it's going out to eat at night or something more formal, like more date at night. It could be a breakfast. It could be just time together for a couple of hours, right? No kids, and they're not, like we're far away from them, or they're not within proximity, like they can't come and interrupt us, basically is what I'm saying. So, obviously, if your kids are a lot smaller and you don't have a babysitter, totally get that. Do your date night at home while they're sleeping and make something special. So for this one, I encourage you, if you don't do this with your partner, is to actually schedule one for 2024. Not one, I'm talking once a month. Once a month, schedule a date night with your spouse, with your partner. And it doesn't have to be like every second Monday, like a meeting. No. Or every third Saturday, It doesn't have to be like that. Oftentimes, as parents, we're running around. So it's kind of like wherever we find time, wherever we have that window, we take it. So for example, my kids are fairly busy, with jujitsu 2-3 times a week, their extracurricular activities. They have scouting on Fridays, all 3 of them now. They have Armenian school on Saturdays. They have piano on Saturdays. What else do they have? My other kid, my older one, started Muay Thai on Mondays. And then the younger one has breakdancing on Thursdays. So every single day, at least one of us, the parents, is out and about, running around. Okay. And sometimes it's both of us at 2 different activities, and then we have our own meetings too. And we have our own activities. My husband does jujitsu and I do swimming at night. So everybody is so busy. But we did find a window, my husband and I, and I'm not saying this happens every week, but now that our youngest one is going to Scouts, since September, that means all 3 kids are gone in a meeting from 7 to 9 p.m. So my husband brings them there at 7 o'clock or 6:45, 6:30, and then he'll leave. Either he'll go back to work and do work, or he'll come home, and then after he'll leave again to go pick them up at 9 o'clock. But a few times, especially if I wasn't swimming that day, I would join him because I felt myself, it's been a while since we've done something together. And this was all spontaneous. It happened a couple of months or 2 Fridays on different months where I went with them to drop off the kids. And then we went out for supper. We didn't make reservations. We simply just looked locally. I was looking at my phone on the drive there, the 40-minute drive to their Scout meeting, looking for great restaurants to eat nearby, and it was just us 2. So it was a real quick in and out because we had to go pick up the kids, be ready by 8:30, 8:40 to go pick up the kids. So it's just that kind of finding like that reconnection point somewhere in our busy schedule to reconnect with your loved one. So I love that one a lot. And I think and I hope that you put that and instill that in your schedule for 2024. So just to recap the 5 areas to do something you don't normally do during the holiday season and beyond, like I just talked about. So number 1 is to make that phone call. Ideally, with your kids too, or not ideally. If it's you who hasn't made that phone call, actually press the buttons and talking to someone verbally as opposed to text, or having your kids do that because they've never done that before or it's been a while, make a phone call to a loved one, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, whatever, a neighbor, that you're close to, and their telephone number. It's weird to say that, but, have them do that phone call. Number 2 is invite your neighbor over for a coffee or for some cookies or just whatever, maybe to paint together because that's what you like to do and you found out that they like doing that also. The third one is to be a kid again and do something yourself that you've done as a kid, like sledding, skating. It could be skiing. It could be, having a snowball fight. How cool is that? How fun is that? Building a snow fort. Number 4, explore. Explore a different city. That's just a few minutes away, just the next block over, or it's a drive to go there. And then try their local specialties, support local businesses. And obviously bring your kids because it's always fun to do that. Okay? And finally, number 5, my favorite one out of this one. Well, they're all my favorite ones, but this one in particular. And I know a few people who've said this to me that this hasn't happened for them in a long time. And I think it's important, especially to keep that connection in that unit that you guys are a united front for the kids. And that is to schedule and make time for you and your partner for 2024, at least once a month. Once a month. That's it for a couple of hours. All right? So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I liked creating it for you. You can tell in my face that I'm so excited about this. So please, to help with this excitement and make me feel like I've helped you and contributed to your life, is to DM me on Instagram at @OneTidyPlace or on Facebook, Dianne Jimenez, and let me know which one of these did you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make a phone call, invite a neighbor, be a kid and do something different that's fun, explore and take a drive in a new city, or schedule the date nights. And I want to see, if you're going to do this one, what is the date that you're going to be doing it? What is the date you're going to be having your date night? Or what is the place that you're having your date night, And you can even one-up it and show me like a screenshot of your shared calendar with your spouse, your partner, or whatever. So I hope you take these and run with it. I can't wait to find out what you're going to do, which one of these you're going to do. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It could be a couple of things. And that really delights me. So yeah, thank you again for being here and taking me along your journey today in whatever it is that you're doing. But I hope you're safe, you're happy, and you're surrounded with people that light you up and bring you so much joy, and that you do the same for them. All right. So I am signing off. Have a great rest of your week. And because the holidays are here, I will not be having an episode the week of the 25th. And probably not the week of the 1st, but I'll try to squeeze something in there just to say Happy New Year. But then we'll start again in the new year. So don't forget to share this episode because it's a really cool one. All right? Have fun out there and great talking to you. Bye-bye.